What's up, guys? We're in the closing days, getting to the close to the finals between Team Metro and Team Meg's rematch. Andy, how you feeling, man?
Feeling really good, Stack. I'm excited about the show, actually. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, but I feel like Stream Team League has, and I'm not just saying this because I'm part of it, I legitimately feel like Stream Team League has delivered all the excitement we were hoping for. And it's going to be even better the culmination of the 3 weeks of hard work. I mean, longer than that. Teams were grinding long before the 3 weeks, but all that work has come into a head tomorrow night. I'm really excited for it.
I know what you're saying. Like, if I wasn't a part of this, I would honestly still be invested. And that's the product that I always kind of had in mind. Is like, it comes down to what kind of content would I like to watch and just create that instead of waiting for someone else to do it. That's kind of the whole idea behind it. Was like, what is this missing right now? Team action, and not just team for the pros or like people who have connections, but like people who can hop onto a team and it matters no matter where you're at, as status or rank or whatever it might be. So we decided to do this one live because we wanted to have the chat involved and have the players involved. Hopefully we can get some players like Sermi here in the chat to come in and talk when we have the matchup scene ready to go and get his thoughts on how things could go differently, because that's a big question. Is this going to go any differently than the last time? Is Disturbia going to sweep Gingy Bird and go to critical division again the same way? Is Metro going to be able to take a game off Mags to lighten the load? Is Chobo going to run right through Miso again, or is there going to be a game plan there? Those are the big questions. Yes, I mean, so any other thoughts on that before we move to the matchups, Andy?
No, I think those are the big questions of the day, so I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna post up predictions in the chat, guys. I want to hear your thoughts on it, and we'll read them off as any relevant things. I'll be able to pin the chat message to the screen if it's something relevant. We'll try to get the players on, so we'll have little pauses to see if I can get someone on in the matchup. Other than that, yeah, feel free to chime in. I'm gonna have predictions up there, so let's get to it.
Yes,
First,
let's.
first match, as we know, Disturbia versus Gingibert. Why don't you give us a little backstory on this while I try to see if I can connect people?
Yeah, absolutely. So going into this, prior to Stream Team League starting, Disturbia had some success in Stream Team Battle, and he's had kind of a wild jury, probably best known for doing things like Pinwheel into EXDP.
Yeah.
And throughout Stream Team League, Disturbia has shown a lot of development. There's a lot more probably control to that chaos. The chaos is still there, but more strategy and more intent, I think, in everything Disturbia does. And Gingy Burt, I think we expected a lot because he kind of has more control more by default. That's more his default style of play. And he has conversions. If he gets a touch with his screen, he's going to do some damage. But when these two went head to head, the new kind of control and intent that Disturbia shows in his play really came through, and it was unfortunately for Gingy Burt, not very close. It was 3-0 in Division 5, and then they went to Critical Division because it ended up being a Ram was earned, and so they went to Critical Division, and Disturbia continued that assertive play and won 5-1. So Gingy Burt did get a game, but it was still very, very decisive. So yeah, big question. Does Gingy Burt have something else for Disturbia this time around?
Yeah, I mean, Gingibert does stay tight, but he actually does have some things of his own that have been getting him killed a little bit with his full screen overheads and people finally catching on, because as this goes on, your habits become more and more well known because, well, it's a weekly thing and you're on stream every single week. So it's like, okay, he did that last time and this time, so next time I got to be ready for this. Disturbia, on the other hand, if you remember the first match, it was all about, as you mentioned before, the -2 situations. We don't see that as much. They really told him to knock that off more, and the V skill too. Not V skill 2, V skill as well, where
Yes.
some people have punishes, some don't. But even when they do, they're not so consequential where it's going to stop him from doing that. So he still gets V meter and all that stuff. So it hasn't been quite worth it for him to stop that yet, which is why we haven't really seen him get blown up yet. I think if Gingibert really studies and really has the answers, he can pull this through. But he has such a deficit. How many games now? 8 games to 2 or something like that. Something a
Yeah,
little brutal.
or I think 8-1.
8-1 even. So
Yes.
that's what made the last score look so crazy. Is a critical division is worth 2 points per game, so it was like 22-11 or something like that. It made it seem like a huge blow up, but really, Metro's team was in control for the most part, and then Mags did what he could to give him another chance, but then it just fell in the wrong division. It could have fell in a different division and went the other way if it just happened to land in Division 3 or however it might be. That's just the way it went.
It was really bad luck for Team Mag to land there because it was probably the biggest disparity.
Is the match today or Sunday? It's actually tomorrow. We're just prepping up. It's going to be tomorrow at 7. It started off at Monday, but because of the maintenance coming up Sunday, we didn't want to rush it. This is something that we've been looking forward to for a long time, to just blast through it so we make sure we don't hit maintenance. Sunday seems like a better day. Even if we didn't have maintenance, I think it would be a better day.
Yeah, I agree with that. So kind of fortuitous in my opinion.
So actually we have Disturbia here.
Oh yeah.
Let's see if we can get him on.
Hello.
There he is.
Serbia.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing good. Let me just turn you down a little bit real quick. So Andy, if you don't have any questions lined up, I can actually start us off here. Just let me find him real quick.
Yeah, if you got something, sure.
All right, Disturbia, can you give me a quick 1, 2, 3?
1, 2, 3.
Okay. All right, Disturbia. So is anything gonna go different this time around versus Gingy Bert?
Honestly, I am not too sure. The thing that I want to say is just that I'm more so excited to see what Gingy Bert has. Because I was rooting for him for like a while.
Right.
So I'm more excited just to see what he does. I've been watching his replays. I know that's like very obvious, you know. So I know what I need to look out for, and I'm pretty sure he knows what he needs to look out for. So it's kind of just sees who's done their homework on the matchup more and more. But yeah, I don't think anything.
Is that what's giving you the edge so far? Because you've already had to play him twice, and it went heavily in your favor. So is that a product of you doing some studying and figuring something out, or is it the flow? Has your team been a big part of that?
Oh yeah, my team has helped like a lot. Like Metro has been helping me out with some things, and then I've just been using outside help as well.
Nice.
And yeah, I've been like pulling like tooth and nail to get like sets in from other people. Like I've been doing like since the moment Stream Team started. Like I have not like stopped playing or practicing against anyone because, like I said, I'm not trying to lose at all. So yeah, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to try to win.
That's awesome. Well, you're only one match away from winning the whole thing, and each player leaves with $200 extra. So I mean, that's something. If you're not going to drop the ball, it's definitely not going to be now. The question is Gingy Bert going to finally have an answer for what you have, and will you be able to adapt if that's the case? Because I don't think Mags liked losing, and I think he understood they're not spending enough time with the rest of their team. They kind of figured me and Miso were going to handle business, and if Surmi and Gingy and Big Tex can't handle it, we'll take care of the business. But now that he sees how well put together your guys' team is, they're gonna be thinking, we need to make sure these early divisions don't happen like that. So
yeah, I'm just I'm excited. I just kind of want to see what goes down. I'm more like anxious than anything because it's like I want this to like get like it's a whole month. I want this to be over right now. I'm just ready to get it done.
I'm sure it's exhausting. Hell yeah. I think people don't understand how much it is to look forward to an event and then look forward to an event every single week. It's the same thing where it's like it's draining. It really is. Even just looking forward to one tournament is kind of like just attack on the nerves. So that's why I think this is so cool, and I'm really appreciate you guys putting the effort, because what I want is to see people improve as the time goes on, and you're one of those players that we can see noticeable improvement in every single event, where it's like you're getting a little bit better every single time. You're a little bit more prepped. So I'm really excited to see how this turns out. It doesn't look like Gingy Bert's going to be able to join us, but so what's your final prediction? How's this going to go for you?
For me, I'm going confidence all the way. I'm sorry, Gingy Bert. I love you. I'm a big fan, but I gotta win.
Andy, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, so I actually had a question for you, Disturbia. And I will get to my thoughts also, but the big narrative of this of Division 5 here is, does Gingy Bert have any developments? Does he have any new twists? Now, Disturbia, do you, now I'm not going to ask what they are, if any, but do you have anything new you're going to try to bring? Or are you mainly trying to, focus on what Gingy Bert's trying to do and adapt to his play style? Or do you have anything of your own to bring new?
I have a couple of ideas. Like I have a backup, like I have an idea of what I want to do. And if that doesn't go out, I do have a couple backups, to fall back on. Hence, like, not hence, but that's what I've been doing throughout Stream Team League. Like, especially with Nani, like I did it with him. Like, I had a backup just in case anything falls, I could fall back on something. So that's what I'm gonna do for Gingerbread as well. I got multiple plans, so just one thing is not gonna just be there. I'm gonna have multiple things to do.
Oh, that's great, and that's the right attitude, I think. And yeah, so and you guys, Stack, you asked my thoughts. My prediction, I can't see this as anything but 3-0 Disturbia. I like Gingerbread. I like him a lot. I like his style of play, but against it was so decisive last time. And Disturbia, you seem so prepared. I'm thinking 3-0.
I'm gonna give Carl Gingerbread one game at the least. I do think there's no way he's not gonna go into this prepared. I think they felt the heat where it's like, okay, this is what happens when we slip up just a little bit. I'm not going to let this happen again. And I think he's going to bring it. I think Mags is going to give him the information he needs. So I think Gingerbird's at least going to take a game or two. So I think I'm going to just give it 3-1, Disturbia's favor. Disturbia, thanks for hopping on real quick. We're going to move on to the next match, but I appreciate you giving some insight, and we will see you in the finals, and good luck.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Thank you. No problem. See you.
All righty. Interesting, man. Yeah. I do want to give Gingerbread a little extra credit. Like, he's a smart guy. I really don't see him making the same mistakes again. But that being said, we haven't seen proof of that happening yet. So we just go by the data. The data.
And my thing is, I would like to at least see a nugget. Now with other ones, like when I, with like Gorilla Tap against Lil Nani, I felt like there were nuggets with Gorilla Tap where he could make some adjustments and do something, and he did. So with Gingerbread, I don't know what the nuggets are there. Maybe I'm not seeing them. Maybe they're there, but I'm just personally not really seeing one or many.
Yeah, it hasn't showed up yet, but I just think the finals, if there is a time, it's going to be in the finals. I hope for that. I want to see.
I would love to see that. Definitely
fast. Let's move on to the next one. We got Step 4 versus Cermi. Why don't you kick us off while I see if we can get us connected?
Yeah, absolutely. So this one, the first time around, it was in the favor of Step 4, and I think I forget what our predictions were prior, but Step 4 took this 3-1. Step 4 has been one of the probably more, I don't want to say if it's improvement, but definitely one of the more surprising players in Stream Team Battle. Not that we didn't expect much from Step 4, but he's had such a good record and been so dominant. I think we didn't quite expect that. And I watched some replays on CFN prior to Stream Team League starting, and I felt like he was kind of a Buttonsy Ken at that kind of gold level. He might be platinum now. I forget exactly, but I didn't quite see what he's shown us in Stream Team League. So it's been very fun to see Step 4 do really well. I've enjoyed it a lot. So going into this, it was 3-1 back in week 2. So we're going to see, does Cermi have anything to bring different this time?
So I'm not going to give away strats. That would be not kosher, but I've seen him be talking a lot. Again, Team Mags, I think, is going to go in here with a chip on their shoulder. I think they went into this season very confident, not too worried about anything. You see some juggernauts at the top of their list. They thought, worst comes to worst, we got a safety net. We got the big dogs to help us out here. But then feeling that loss, feeling that vulnerability, and then barely edging it over Espadon. That was not like a blowout or anything like that. That was close. But since so many of you guys are asking about when this is going to be, I'll run something real quick for you guys, and then we'll get right back to this scene real quick. So as you guys can see, it's actually going to be tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central. The maintenance is just too close, and we don't want to rush beauty like this. We don't want to rush greatness. So let's get right back to the matchup scene. We actually have both these guys in the chat. They can hop in whenever they want. I'll give them the cue real quick if you have any last little notes you want to say before we get them in here.
No, not really. I'd like to talk to these guys.
All right, let's get them connected. Actually, they should be able to hear my voice. What am I talking about?
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll start off. Well, Cermi's already. We'll start off with Cermi if Cermi wants to step in real quick.
Yeah, for sure. How's it going, guys?
Hey, welcome.
Thanks.
Welcome. Just going to adjust your volume real quick here. Maybe you want to give me a quick 1, 2, 3?
1, 2, 3. I
Awesome.
admit it after all.
All right.
So we got flicker.
So, Cermi, you were unable to persevere during Step 4's your last encounter with Step 4. Is anything going to change this time?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fairly different game on both sides. I think we've both had more time to prepare. I think going back and kind of watching the VODs, I can definitely see where lots of things went wrong. I can see I know at the end of the day, it was more a mental loss than a skill loss for me.
Okay, that's fair. Is it like pressure from the stream, anything like
Um,
that, or is it just more so maybe the game plan?
I think one thing that maybe people who haven't played in Stream League before don't recognize is how much different it is to play Street Fighter with voices in your ear. Um,
Mm,
it actually does like make a big difference because while it's nice to have voices there to kind of help you adapt, it's also voices that are giving you more options to think about.
right.
So there, it really does change how you have to play the game.
Interesting. Yeah, it's not just a voice in your head telling you what should I be doing here. You have another voice, an outside voice telling you an answer while you're trying to think about other stuff, and you know you should be applying this answer. One thing I wanted to mention was that I did hear Miso on stream kind of giving you a strat, but I understand how hard it is to apply it in that time. And she's
Yeah,
stop
that
doing
is
this, but you couldn't. It was too integrated, so you were not able to adapt. And I wonder if that's going to be the difference in this upcoming match.
yeah. I mean, that's the exact scenario where I noticed it was happening when I went back and watched the stream afterwards. Is oh, the advice was right there. I just literally did not process it.
Right. I mean, it's tough, especially with that added pressure. And the finals are not going to decrease the pressure. That's for sure. It's going to be even more so. So, that being said, closing prediction. How is this going to go for you?
I'm gonna say this is gonna go to me 3-2.
Oh, let's go.
I've definitely come up with some tech that I'm confident enough in that even if I said it right now, I don't know that there's a way to counter that tech.
Very nice. As
Unbeatable
I was
tech, I like
mentioning before you came in here, that I actually have been seeing you guys talk a lot. I've been seeing walls of text. I'm not going to go over any strategies, but I've been seeing you talking. I've been seeing, finally, we don't want this to happen again. And as I said before, Mags recognizes that they need you guys. Just as I've said since the beginning, like people don't understand the importance of the first two divisions, especially because they just see lower rank not as valuable. No way. Actually, as a matter of fact, that it kind of boils down a lot to these first couple divisions. So your spot is even almost more so important. Like, of course, they got to sometimes do cleanup at the end, but it's up to you guys to get those early points on the board. So he's got 3-2. What is your prediction, Andy?
So prior to hearing Surmi talk about the tech that he's been hearing, because I actually feel like if you watch the videos or watch the VODs and compare that to what you're hearing from the coaches, if you're going through that same process again and their advice is similar, it may click a lot better for you the second time around. So that could be a big edge. I feel like prior to hearing that, I had my prediction down as step 4, 3-1.
Okay.
But I mean, Sorby, you're sounding really confident, man, and I like that process. And you do have very good coaches, so that makes me feel like you might have a better chance.
I think so too. Actually, I have this only by data. I have it 3-2 to step 4. I do think that step 4 is kind of on the same boat where I feel like even if he's winning, he still isn't gonna ease back on any strats or anything like that. But I do feel like Surmi is gonna have an adaptation. It all comes down to, especially in the end here, the pressure of the finals, who can handle it better. And step 4, I must say, has handled the pressure better so far. So I feel like in these finals, step 4 might just have a mental advantage, but I'm here to be proven wrong. I want to see Surmi. You started off hot. I want you to end hot. But I still have it 3-2 step, but it's going to be a close one. But so thank you, Surmi, for hopping on step. Whenever you're ready, we'll take you whenever you're good to go.
Yeah, appreciate it, Surmi.
Sure thing. Testing 1 2 3.
Thank you. Just give me one more if you could.
Testing 1 2 3.
Perfect. Why don't you start us off? Got any questions, Andy?
Yeah, so step 4, I'm curious to know your own feeling on your own play. It's been very impressive. I'm curious if you think that your time in Stream Team League and playing with coaches and with the team in your ear, has that elevated your play, or do you feel like this is step 4 consistent play that we're seeing, like from the past?
I think it's. Oh,
yeah, sorry. No, that's it.
It's definitely elevated my play over the last month. I wish it could like reflect in ranked and that sort of thing, but because so much of my time has been on like the focus sets specifically for my matchups, for all that coming stuff, like 90% of my time is in battle lounges, and the other 10% of the time is probably talking with the team about what we're gonna do to prep.
Gotcha. So that would make sense why, like you said, it's not reflected in ranked as much, and your performance on Stream Team League and Stream Team Battle is probably a lot better than that. I like that.
I definitely think I've been doing well, but I do feel, how do I put this? I'm not sure if because I've been winning, that's going to be a disadvantage in a way.
Hmm.
Because like I've definitely been trying to improve, but there's not so many things to look at specifically in the matchups. There are definitely things I could execute better, but right now I'm just looking at like what Serby is doing to prep, what answers he may have. He's definitely going to have much better pressure going into the finals, and I think a lot of those things that probably you could chalk up to nerves are not going to be there as much.
Do you feel like your team specifically has made it easier to handle the pressure because you feel like maybe they got your back more? You guys are really attached, it seems like. Does that give you a boost of confidence and know that, you know, whether or not win or lose, these guys aren't going to go crazy on me and we can all kind of work together? Do you see it like that?
I definitely do. I think one probably like my weakest part of my game is like my mental game. So like that really helps with the nerves and kind of keeps you in it. And even if I lose like the first game, like I have sometimes, I'll be able to kind of pull back, think about things, and then adjust and win the set.
That's awesome. Well, that being said, do you see anything different going on here, or do you see yourself continuing winning here, even if you do lose a game there? Do you think it's going to go any differently score-wise? What do you think?
I think it's going to be much closer. I think there's a chance I could get suffocated if I don't really control the game and like stop the pressure. Because I definitely saw things like there were things I looked at before the set that felt so much different playing like that out in SDL. So I think there's a good chance it's a lot closer. I say it's 3-2 me, but it's going to be a nail biter. Could be last game, last round.
Interesting. So even though you're on the winning end of it, I would actually say that Sermi sounds a little bit more confident, which can maybe affect things in the finals depending on how. I mean, I think it's going to come down to team reception as well, as you said. Do these guys give you advice mid-match, or do you kind of go in with the game plan and then step back for a second if you need a pointer, or do you leave them always chiming in your ear?
They definitely do give me things here and there and sort of like help me dial things back. If I'm like a little nervous, I might play a little more offensive than I need to, or take risks I don't necessarily need to. So like Patty and Metro will be in my ear just telling me, don't worry about this, don't do this. Great. I need to just listen to you guys and I'll be fine.
That's actually an interesting thing to point out is I noticed that when Mag and Miso are given pointers, they actually are giving like real informational pointers, which actually may not be as effective in these early divisions when you have so much pressure going on as it is, and you have a higher level player telling you need to stop doing this and start doing this exact thing. You would think that'd be good, but actually maybe it's just a little bit of like, hey, chill out, because at least you can process what that means. Like maybe I'm freaking out too much or something like that. So maybe that's a relevant factor.
Yeah, it could be. Because I think too, if you're giving very specific advice versus something general, specific would be, oh, when you see this, do this. But general could be, watch for this, and then you can apply your own knowledge of what to do in that situation, maybe.
Right. Step 4. Any closing thoughts, Andy, or anything you want to say?
Yeah, actually, I asked DISTERBIA a similar question, but in a situation like this where step 4, you had the success over Sermi last time. So naturally, you think it's Sermi's responsibility to change something in his game to match you. Do you have anything different you're going to try to do in this match compared to last time, or are you simply going to try to apply your same game plan and be ready for what Sermi's going to do?
I've definitely been working on the matchup, specifically making sure I respond to certain activations routes correctly. Just work on my neutral in the matchup, trying to whip punish a few things more. But I've mostly been putting my energy into just how do I become a better player and add more things to my tool set in the meantime, since I have gone over that 1 week leading up to it, the ed matchup extensively. If I could just be a better player going into tomorrow, I think that'll take me a long way.
I think that's a good approach, especially since, like you said, you haven't had a lot of setbacks, which makes it hard to go back and look at what do I need to improve on. So if you focus on that in general, that's probably a good approach. I like that.
Well, we have all of us are kind of leaning just slightly in step 4's favor, but we are looking for a throwdown, and I think Sermi's going to bring it. He sounds confident, so I'm really excited. Thank you guys for taking some time on a Sunday to step in, and we're going to move to the next matchup. Thanks, Step.
Yeah, thank you both,
Sermi.
Step and Sermi.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers.
On to the next one. This one's going to be super interesting. I think I don't have to think, the stats are right here.
And the scene.
Patty versus Big Tex. So Big Tex just went out, and he kind of matches out, doesn't he? He kind of loses a little bit of momentum, and then gains it back by the end. Why don't you start us off while I try to get these guys connected?
Yeah, absolutely. So last time in the first matchup. I believe it was Big Tex taking it. If I can find my stat sheet, yeah, Big Tex took it 3-2, and it was a close one. Patty won the first game. Big Tex came back with 2 games. Then Patty took another, and Big Tex ended up taking the decisive game 5. And overall, Big Tex has had a great run in Stream Team League. I'm trying to find his total stats. So he overall has 6-4. He's 9-6 overall in Stream Team League. He the last week of Stream Team League, he beat OMP Spartan 3-2, and that was another one where, like you said, he kind of will get up and down in momentum and then find a way to like really take it decisively. And against OMP Spartan last week, he ended up dropping the first game, winning the second, dropping the third, down 1-2, took the last 2 games to take the set. So Big Tex always seems to find a way. And I don't know if I see it going a lot differently. So he won 3-2 last time. I feel like Big Tex is a bit of a hotter player right now in Stream Team League. I mean, Patty's also very good, but I have this as Big Tex 3-1. Maybe it's more like a 3-2, but I still see advantage Big Tex.
Well, it's kind of hard to see it any other way. I will say Big Tex's flaw is it's like he doesn't really get his head into the game fully until the last match. He's sitting there typing in between sets, saying, "This is fun." But so I think he kind of stays too loose, which could be a good thing if you don't have as much pressure on you. You're kind of going and throwing down, but also that kind of can cost you matches too. And in a game where, in an exhibition where every point matters, so he just kind of gives up points. Maybe he could do better if he could just like hone in a little bit better. That being said, Patty, there's no way, just like every other player in the finals, she's not going to come in more prepared than ever. I actually have this as I don't have either player available at the moment, unfortunately. I really thought I'd be able to get Patty in here, so maybe we can give her just a little bit longer. That being said, I have it 3-2 Big Tex again. This is another matchup where I really want to see Patty in her fully evolved form pull through. But just data-wise, just statistically, Big Tex manages to squeeze out every single one, so there's no way I'd be able to go any other way.
Yeah, he has that clutch factor, and it's so hard to argue against. And this is a match that we see as very close. So when you see it as that close, and one person seems to have that clutch gene, it's hard not to go that way.
Yeah.
Also, I say, Spilly, why don't you pin Spilly Bob's comment? Let's go Big Tex.
Let's go Big Tex. Yeah. And he also somehow is going to win 5-0. It's probably going to be a couple perfects. It's going to be a 3-0 with 2 perfects. Actually, let's see here. Oh, she's out right now. Okay. And I thought Big Tex would really want to hop in here, but he's not here at the moment. So we can always kind of go back to if they do find some time to hop back in. Otherwise, we can just move to the next scene. So final answers is Big Tex is going to squeeze this one out. You got 3-1. I got 3-2. Yeah?
Yep.
All right, then. Well, let's just glide right into the next one. And to me, the most interesting one. It's going to be Chobo versus Miso Carson. I know Chobo's around here somewhere, so we're going to get her on. And while I'm trying to get these people, let's start things off, Andy.
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of the big question marks of this championship that I think will help decide it. Is this going to go differently than last time? I have to think that it will. Chobo beating Miso 3-0. I don't know exactly what was going on at the time with Miso. I mean, we saw what we saw. Mentally, we don't know, but we saw she was using V-Trigger 2, whiffed on it a few times. She was dropping things. It's hard to imagine that happening again, but it could. I mean, Chobo's out there just gaming, and I love to see that, especially with Honda. Like, it sucks to play against, but seeing someone play that way and succeed is a lot of fun. So this is a hard one to predict. I'd like to talk about it a little more before giving an official prediction.
Yeah, that's good to point out. And it's worth mentioning. I'm not going to get into the details because Chobo would stab me. But we talked for a while, and she resents the fact that we see her as an underdog, and she resents the fact that we put her in the light that we put her in, the kind of like throwing down no matter what. She says she's been putting a lot of prep work into this matchup, and she's just not getting the acknowledgement. But it's worth saying in the finals, it's safe to say she's not an underdog. As a matter of fact, Miso is the one who has to come up with something now because she got blown up before. Whatever we say about skill level or technical level, it doesn't matter if you're not able to perform in the way you can. And bottom line, Chobo performed what she wanted to do, and Miso didn't. So in these clutch factors, we could say whatever we want about the technical aspect, but when it comes down to the clutch, Chobo pulled through, and do we have reason to believe that it's going to be different?
Yeah, I agree. Maybe it's our preconceived notions of Honda players that's unfair. That's very possible and likely.
It is. And did we hype up Miso Kratz a little bit too much? I mean, we see what she has been capable of before, but in these Stream Team Battle weeklies, was there as much pressure, or did she kind of just hop in last second and kind of throw down, and that's how it goes? But when you put a little pressure on her, you can see that things have changed. And I even feel like it took place last week versus that matcher, because again, on a technical fundamental level, you would think she has an edge over Masher, but she barely took it. Barely. And she kind of got there on a mistake as well. Masher made a crucial error at the end and got blown up. That was really close to being 3-2 Masher. So again, the technical aspect isn't really coming into play that much because there's a pressure going on that we're not acknowledging, and that's going to be the key factor in here. I actually do have Chobo in the chat. You can unmute yourself whenever, and we'll just change your level real quick. But Chobo, whenever you're ready.
Hello.
Hey, Chobo.
Hi.
So I don't know if you heard what we were talking about just before you hopped on, but I didn't get into details. But I did mention how you did think it was a little bit unfair, the light we put you in. Would it be fair, though, to call you an underdog at some point in this season? And do you feel that you're there now, or what do you think about it?
I think, honestly, I think that was more between me and you.
Mm-hmm.
The whole underdog thing. I don't really mind if anyone else thinks I'm an underdog.
Do you think
you know
you
what
are?
I mean? Compared to me, so yeah. I actually do.
Going into the finals, has that changed at all, or do you still feel like you need to be on your A game, or else it's gonna go the other way?
I still think I'm the underdog compared to Miso, but that's only because of we actually had a match. This was I told you, I think, Stacky, but like a year ago, I had like a casual match with Miso for like I don't even know how many sets. I asked for basically I got washed. And I asked for set after set, and no matter what I did, I still got washed. So, yeah, I think that left an impression, definitely did. And so if anyone were to say, "Oh yeah, like Chobo's the underdog," I wouldn't mind, but it was only because you said it that I said what I said.
Right. Well, it's kind of hard to call you that now because of what happened last time, and just because of your momentum during the season. I think it'd be kind of biased to say that you're still the underdog. It's hard to say that because I don't know if Miso, with only more pressure being added to the situation, it's hard for me to think like, oh, well, now Miso's going to pull it together and show you her final form when the pressure is even higher. The question is, are you going to be able to bring the same momentum even with this type of pressure where it's like one more exhibition to go? You said you've been really doing some prep work. Did you do a lot of prep work before that matchup as well, or now you're turning it up in the end?
I think Stella. I think I actually did prep work before the first match. I think I did more prep work for there, and now I mean I'm still continuing, but I think I definitely did a lot of prep before the first match because I knew what could happen, you know.
Right. Mm-hmm. So anything you wanted to ask real quick, Andy, before we move on to predictions?
Yeah, I definitely do. So, Chobo, I haven't got to talk to you a lot. I haven't caught your stream too many times, unfortunately. So I'm really curious, when you're in the heat of battle, are you so? And I'll fully admit it's our kind of preconceived notions about Honda players and seeing what they do. Are you out there just playing, or are you in the moment of competition? And my video is freezing right now, so I don't know if we're good. Looks like we're good.
We're good.
Are you just out there, just playing Street Fighter, or are you in the moment of competition and analyzing situations, with your opponent in the context of the event?
Well, I mean, obviously, I'm not the most. I'll admit I'm not the most technical player, but I can wholeheartedly say that when I play my best. Whatever that can mean.
No,
that doesn't necessarily mean.
You totally do, and I noticed that. That's what I mean when I say that you're always playing the way that you want to play. You don't let pressure dictate the way it is that you're going to play. You're going to go in there with your game plan, and you're going to give it your best. And that really does shine in these moments where pressure matters big time, as we can see.
You know, and I wanted to say, actually, that was kind of the basis of my question, which I should have said, which is that you don't seem too affected by the pressure. So, yeah, that was my question. Are you like kind of detached from it, or are you just really honed in and well focused? You know,
I think it affects it. It doesn't affect me in a negative way. Competition usually doesn't.
I like that.
Yeah, I think it gets me more hyped up, I guess you can say.
Nice.
So it doesn't mean I necessarily play better, but I do try to focus like all my, like I said, all my energy on just like trying to play like how I would normally play, if not a little bit more revved up, I guess you can say.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Does Stella have time to get on the mic and give her thoughts on the matchup?
I think she's already been on the mic. Stella, say hi.
What does she think? Does she... But so to close that out, so how is this going to go? Are you going to do the same thing you did last week and just run over Miso, or what's the score going to be in your opinion?
Honestly, I think I caught her by surprise. I think so. So in no way do I think that she's going to play the same way she did last week. I think it's going to be a really close match.
You got to give me
if
some
I'm being
numbers.
honest, as a competitor. Oh, okay. I'm the one who's, the player, so I have to say it's 3-2 me, obviously, or else I can't bet that the opponent's gonna win, or else
Right.
Patty will shoot me.
Yeah, but you do think that she's going to come a little bit harder, a little bit more informed, and you're right. I do think the same thing. I think she thought, if I just play my game, Chobo ain't going to win. Like, I'm better fundamentally, so it's just going to lean in my favor, and you showed real quick that you don't mess up. Like, the things that you do, you get it every time. You don't. I think I saw you miss a butt slam a long time ago, and it was weird. I was like, did she just miss a butt slam? Because you don't miss them. Every time you want to execute something, you get it. And I think it's a big part of your game is that you play fast and you do the things that you want to do precisely. So I think, whereas she messed up in the first rounds, that throw, she tried to throw you, and you woke up. She did it too early, and you threw her into the corner, and it just completely changed everything. And I think that type of pressure, where it's like she messes up and then you just go crazy on her, I think really gives you the edge on that. But did you give your prediction already, Andy?
I didn't. If you're ready for it, I can give
Let's
it.
hear
I
it.
actually kind of changed it during the course of our conversation. I initially had it as Miso advantage, but man, based on the way things have gone, Miso has a lot to change in this matchup for her to win. I'm actually going Chobo. I think it's going to be 3-2 Chobo. I think even if Miso makes adjustments, which she surely will. I mean, that V trigger 2 did not seem to work out at all for her last time. So if she can change some things like that, she'll definitely catch up. But Chobo just seems to have more of the composure and a better time in that high pressure situation. So I'm going to go Chobo 3-2.
It's going to be very hard for me to say anything different. As I mentioned, going to the finals, the pressure doesn't get lower. Like, so Miso's only has more to worry about if she already has a bit of an issue handling that type of situation under that. So I know she's going to go in with a different strategy. She might even pick a different V trigger, different V skill. Who knows? I do know she's going to be like, okay, I see it didn't work last time. But once things start to not go her way, is it going to crumble again just like last time? So it's really hard to not vote it for Chobo just based on that. Like, is she going to be able to handle the situation? There's no reason for me to think really otherwise right now. So I have to say 3-2 in Chobo's favor. If Miso just fucking snaps out of it and goes Zen mode, maybe that's a different story. But for now, with just the data, there's no way to not vote it for Chobo.
It's true. And also, I'd like to remind people, Miso against Glitter was closer than everybody thinks. If you look at the rounds, it wasn't that much of a blow up. I mean, score-wise, it ended up being, but it was just very narrow margins from being way, way closer. And so Miso hasn't been quite as dominant as I think the narrative wants to tell you.
I think that's true. Chobo, I would like to go back to Patty's match. If she's around, you can hit her up, and I'll just go back to this scene later. But other than that, thanks for taking some time with us, and good luck tomorrow.
Yes, appreciate it, Chobo.
Alrighty. Thank you so much, guys.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
Okay, Chobo versus me. So I mean So your opinion kind of changed too, because that's why I didn't write down a prediction beforehand, because I felt like after talking to these guys, it might change. Because my heart, now this is gonna sound weird, my heart tells me 3-1 Miso. My brain, and this is weird, right? Because you would think brain, yeah, because I want to see the best of the players. I want to see the best Miso. I don't want to see pressured Miso. I want to see her there. So in my brain, optimal mode activated, Miso wins. But I don't have anything that's not on any basis right now.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely made predictions based on kind of a hope and something that I think will happen, and it came out to be more true than the data-driven version. But I think if I'm thinking with my heart, I mean, look at results and look at Chobo's composure. That is hard to bet against for me.
It is. It is. Let's move into the next match. This one is just, again, based on the data. It's going to be a little hard to vote anything else than what we all kind of imagine. Metro M versus Mags. Give your initial thoughts on this as I try to see if we can get these guys.
Yeah, certainly. So a couple of weeks ago, this is one of the more epic rounds of Stream Team League we've had, where Mag was absolutely on death's door, dire straits, had to get a 5-0 in order to force Critical Division because they were down by so much against Team Metro. He did it by the narrowest of margins. Had a couple of rounds that were absolutely down to a pixel of life where he was able to survive. So just by super narrow margins did force it. So this is obviously a big advantage here for Mag. But I mean, I think Metro is a very good player. He got 5-0'd against Mag. I have to think he's going to have some new wrinkles. He'll at least attempt. I don't know how successful they'll be, but there have got to be some new things for him to bring tomorrow.
Yeah, it is worth noting that you can use your own matches as information. So what Metro might have done is kind of take a look at Mag, what he does, and then maybe looked up other Vegas, see how he handled other Vegas. Like, okay, he's doing this with this Vega, I'm going to do this. But now you have your own stuff to look at. What did I keep making the mistakes on? And now you can actively look at that exact information and be ready for it. Like, okay, he keeps punishing this. I'm not doing that this time. Holy hell. But
yeah.
Fortunately, it doesn't seem like either of these guys are around right now. It's a kind of a weird time on a Saturday. I get it. But so as you mentioned, if Metro can just get one game, that might be what it comes down to again. Because as you guys might know, Metro's team has a RAM in every division, which means if anyone on the team gets a sweep win, 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, 5-0, they get the RAM. Mags has to have his and then one other person. So if that one other person can't get it, and Metro can wipe just one game off Mags, they don't get the RAM. That's huge. That might be what it comes down to. And that's worth noting because Mags didn't lose last time. And as a matter of fact, in this whole season, he's only lost 3 games.
Yeah.
Which is pretty, stupid, actually.
It is pretty remarkable. And I think you made a good point with Metro being able to look back at his own matches. I think it's a big data advantage for Metro. We talked about it a little bit actually with Step 4, that he hasn't had a lot of setbacks in Stream Team League to look back on and try to improve on. Mag really has not had any setbacks at all. Like you said, he's only dropped a couple of games, which is hardly any kind of setback. So Metro, I think, will have more to go on and more room to improve, certainly.
Yeah, that's true. And as you mentioned, the first game was super close. It was like right there. Metro was making all the right moves, and in the last game too. So it was kind of like Metro had the game plan, it was working out, and then it didn't. Then that screwed him up for the next few games, and then at the end he knew I only have one more chance and got it together and got close again. So if Metro can go into every single game thinking I just need to win one, maybe he'll be able to get it on the board. Mags, on the other hand, now check this out. He's spending more time with his other players because he can't afford to lose games early on. Does that take away from how much he's studying this matchup because he's so honed in on, please, Gingy, listen to me. Please, Surmy, listen to me. Who knows? So I'm so excited to see how this rematch goes. It's not often you get rematches of like a high caliber. So you normally maybe see Metro versus Mags 1, Metro versus Mags 2. This is 2 entire teams rematching each other. I don't know how often you get that.
Yeah, in such a short time span. You might see like somebody at a tournament, a big tournament they play, then the following year they run into him again, not usually a week later. Or 2 weeks later, excuse me.
Yeah, no, this isn't long at all, but it's enough to make things go very differently. So I think it's at least safe to say, I don't know actually based on our predictions, really, but I also know that our predictions are wrong a lot. Almost as often as they're not. I would actually probably say we're in like the single-digit percentages.
I would imagine.
But I can also see as a whole this event going completely different than last time.
I think so. I think it is going to go different. So we're kind of getting into final predictions a little bit here?
Well, yeah, but I just wanted to mention first, I think by our scores, it's not that different. Interestingly, right? Like if we just go
So-
by individual matches.
So the thing I have, let's see, that's kind of true. Although the score that I have, no, you're right. You're actually right. You know what? I keep getting clouded by the total score, which includes critical division. So I'm getting myself messed up off that looking at the last time. So actually, score wise, we have it as pretty close to how it went last time.
So do you have your all the totals lined up?
Yeah, I do. So for Metro versus Mag, I'm going to give Metro a game. I think he's going to play a lot better. I just don't see it adding up to taking very many games off Mag. So I'm calling that one as 3-1 because he does have that data advantage I talked about. And like you said, I think it's a great point that Mag might be focused more on his team than his own play. Which, does he need to focus on his own play? It's probably not a huge priority, so that's probably fine. But Metro does have that resource advantage for himself in his particular matchup. So my total score, when you tally it all up, I actually have it as 11-11. Tie.
Yeah.
I didn't do that on purpose. I did not do that on purpose. That's just how it came out.
And then what's going to happen? In critical division, it all depends on what division it goes into, huh?
Absolutely. So from there, I couldn't tell you because I didn't. I'm not going to predict all 5 again, but I think I have it as a tie. Very, very close.
Okay, so the only way we can look at it is judging by how many of a team wins. What's the likelihood? Say, for example, that Metro wins 3 divisions and Mags only wins 2. Then that makes it a little bit more likely in Metro's favor. So if you can go back to the scores, how many of these divisions does Team Metro win?
I have them as taking 3 sets out of the 5. I have Disturbia, Step 4, Chobo winning, and then Big Tex and Mag. So based on those odds, you could say favor Team Metro.
So if you were just to speak from your heart right now, you think Metro has a slight edge in this exhibition?
I think they do, yeah. Based on the wheel and everything, yeah.
Right, and even just on previous data, I mean, they had control of that set, of a lot of the sets last time. If Mag and his team deliver as they say, Mags is going to win this handily. They know what they're saying, and I know a lot of these players know what they're doing. Is Big Tex going to really bring the heat? Patty, are you around? Do you want to talk about your match real quick? I can get you on right now. We can finish this off with your last division because I want to hear your guys' input. I really do.
Yes, stream Team Battle X Discord. And I think the big question marks while we're trying to effort Patty in here, I think you're right that it could go heavily toward Mag if Miso is able to step up and win decisively over Chobo, which we kind of expect right now. Okay, Patty says she's out at the moment. But they're going to win the whole thing. You should pin that.
Patty says she's not available. I'm out right now, but I do think we are going to win the whole thing, yes. You're right. I mean, the pressure only gets higher. Now, the question is, does Metro's team have a threshold for pressure? Like, now are they going to cave in? Because it hasn't really been affecting their team that much. It really hasn't. Metro, you could argue, buckled under the pressure versus Mags, but also Mags is such a high-level player that you can't really just put it all on that. He gave it all he got, and just got beat. But there are a lot of times where you could see visible pressure. Miso, even I think Big Tex has like a flip-floppy mentality. I actually think Patty has succumbed to pressure as well. Surmi, they have you can see it all their play. I would say Disturbia the least, which is why he's seen so much success. And it could come down to that and where they place their RAM for Team Mags. Dang, I really wish
true, and the RAM advantage too. Forgot about that. Yeah.
Well, we've covered pretty much all of that. Is there anything else that we need to go over before we close out of here?
No, I don't think so. As everybody should know, it's going to be tomorrow night. We moved it off of Monday. It's Sunday, 7 p.m. Central. The culmination of a month of a league. And it hasn't been that long of a time span, yet it feels like so much work has gone into it. I can only imagine. I mean, I've played team sports. Most people probably have, where your season is 2-3 months long, maybe even longer. I mean, there's so much pressure because you have worked that entire season to get to that point. And even in a short amount of time, I feel like there's a ton of pressure. So this has been so much fun. Yeah.
Did you remember what Disturbia said before? Like, it's so draining. He said he wants it to end. Not because he hates it, but because looking forward to an event every week. And, it's the magnitude goes higher and higher. You're just like, oh, my God. And now you're going to the finals. They're probably exhausted. Like, at this point, I know what it's like to go into events. It's all you're thinking about. Like, as you're eating, you're less hungry because you're like, oh, God, I'm like nervous for this event. and how it's going to go. And so that really could play. These guys got to all be drained for sure. I know I would be. Even Mag, maybe Supreme Lord Mags. Maybe even he'll go in there with a little bit of a pressure. Like just drained from like, geez, but he doesn't really, like I said, I made that joke about him always sound like he's getting up. He doesn't really ever sound like he's putting too much emotional energy into the match. So that we should really consider. Maybe Metro's team, do they have the energy to get through all the way to the end?
I think they might. I mean, I've said the whole season, I like their vibe the most, their team synergy. I mean, Patty mentioned it a few minutes ago. I do think they have the best vibe.
Yeah, and I mean, it's gotten this far because I don't know what we said about Team Metro in the beginning. I don't remember what our closing thoughts were on that going into the season, but they have really proven themselves. They're growing as we watch. Can Team Mags deliver what they think they're going to deliver and totally change things, or is Team Metro going to keep riding that wave of positivity and teamwork and make it happen? $1,000 on the line, guys. Just tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central. That's for you. Some people, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. You guys better be there. I don't have a closing scene. Thank you, Andy, for joining. And we will see you guys tomorrow night.
Yes. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for everybody for coming on and chatting with us. And thank you, Stack. We'll see you guys tomorrow night.
All right. See ya.